how many Black Americans have Irish Catholic surnames? Right. So Shaq O'Neal, Eddie Murphy, Condoleezza Rice,
Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Randall Kennedy, the great American Black academic. All these people have Irish Catholic names. How did that happen? So I went back and I started looking at the research, and there's an amazing book by a fellow called Noel Ignatieff, called How the Irish Became White. And it's a history of the Irish in the ghetto in New York, Philadelphia, and Boston. And it's this idea.
He sounds like he's Russian.
Interestingly, because we have a Canadian producer, his son, Michael Ignatieff, ran for Prime Minister of Canada. Ignatieff, I suspect, is Russian originally.
Yeah.
Michael Ignatieff is his son, big brainy lad. This is the owl lad, Noel.
Right.
Who was a professor at Harvard and wrote this really interesting book. He just thought, hold on a second, there's something interesting here. What happens when people arrive in a country with nothing, and how do they progress through the ranks?
Yeah.
And what you find is one thing is, number one, and this is the Irish surname thing. This is really interesting. That what happened in America when the Irish Catholics arrived was something that had never been seen in the Northeast Free States, as they called them, the free states that were where Black people were liberated and free and not slaves. Is you had an alarming, they call it an alarming in the book, right? But a massive rise in mulattoes and mixed race kids. So in 1850 in Philadelphia, 15,000 mixed race kids were born. That was unheard of because the white wasps never mixed with the poor blacks. So what happened was the Irish and the blacks were living together, but also that Irish women arrived in New York and Philadelphia and Boston, okay? They had no money. They had nothing to sell except themselves. So they went into prostitution in huge numbers, which is what we see in lots and lots of immigrant societies all the time. And when those women gave birth to kids, black kids, they kept them, and they kept their mother's name, which is hence the Murphys and the Kellys and the O'Neills down that black side.
Because they're all illegitimate kids.
Because they're all illegitimate kids, right? So that's really interesting. So what happens first is that the Irish mixed huge numbers with the blacks.
Yeah.
Black men, freed black slaves, were at a higher social rank than the Irish guys who came in, because the Irish guys had no trades. Yeah. So there was a hierarchical pecking order as well going on.
But they were still in the category of no blacks, no Irish, no dogs.
Absolutely. But this is what happens when you're both down in the ghetto. When you're both, it's this tiny these small margins make a big difference.
But sorry, these guys, a lot of the Irish though were farmers.
Well, that's the interesting thing as well. You point out, like most of Irish migration in the 1840s and 1850s to the United States, a disproportionate was from Connacht and Westminster and Donegal. Okay, so the West Coast, right? Yeah. Which is why Irish speakers refer to the famine as the great destruction of the Irish language, because it was really predominantly on the Irish-speaking Western seaboard. Yeah. They're all agricultural. This is really interesting. Yeah. These are people who'd never been to a city before.
And they're going to a country with an abundance of land.
Exactly. And they didn't take it up. And why is that? The Germans, on the other hand, took it up, who were probably quite likely to be semi-urban when they left Germany. They became farmers. The Irish stuck in the ghetto. And maybe it is because, and this is what I want to get onto here, because of the outrageous anti-Irish feeling that predominated the United States once they arrived. And this is the parallel to what's happening with Le Pen or with the ADF in Germany or with the more extreme. That basically what happens when a significant population arrives in that is different to the native population, to the local population. The first thing is at the very, very bottom, you end up scrapping with the people who are already at the bottom. In this case, the black people. Yeah. Okay. The second thing is as you climb your way up, you threaten the other whites. Okay. Yeah. But interestingly, as you climb your way up, you stamp on the people below you.